If you thought Superman 3 was bad, prepare to be amazed, because this gets even worse. Just Bad Movies tonight, it's Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Out of all the Superman movies, this is by far the worst. There was a winning formula, and why is it bad? Christopher Reeve decided to do a bit of virtue signalling, and look where it got him. This film is absolute shit.
Comrade Superman, you are so hot. You are making my tuppence tingle.
(1987). This one is a supremely bad film. I love Christopher Reeve as Superman, but this was really below the belt. This was 90 minutes of pure hell, an hour and a half of your life you would never ever get back. And it was often on ITV on a wet and damp Sunday. Had a budget of $17 million. Made 36.7 back at the box office. It was the last journey out for Christopher Reeve wearing the cape. Gene Hackman was Lex Luthor. We had Mark McClure back as Jimmy Olsen, a.k.a. Dave McFly. Also, John Cryer's in this, who ironically later went to be a version of Lex Luthor, if you remember that. Had his hair shaved for it. Mark Pillow. He plays Nuclear Man. Mark Pillow is from Leeds, and he kind of looks like Hunter from Gladiators. I wonder if they're related. He was from Yorkshire too. Mariel Hemingway. Shall I try that again, Trev? Mariel Hemingway and Margot Kidder, who strangely looks a bit off kilter during this film. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hello to, I'm not sure who was first, by the way. But Franco says he was first of the reset, so I don't know who was in there first. Gav Blackburn thought he was first as well. Gav gave us a £2 super chat before we even started. Thank you very much, sir. Get knackerized. I like that. That is very clever, sir. I like that. If you love the channel, hit join, become a member, and support more brutally honest reviews like we're going to do tonight with this. So, without any further ado, let's do Superman 4. Strangely enough, it starts off with like a flyby from Mir, the Russian space station. But oddly enough, there seems to be like a pro-Russian theme. So anyway, some cosmonauts singing Frank Sinatra, and these fellow cosmonauts, they're not too chuffed. Wait till you get back home, Comrade Sinatra. And there's a bit of space junk flying around, and there's cosmonaut Ivana Humpalot. I think that's her name. I liked that in the intro. Oh, Superman, you're making me so hot. You're making my tuppence tingle. That was me doing that. And DaVinci Resolve to change my voice, and it was quite scary. Well, anyway, Ivan, he gets hit by a bit of space debris. And he's off in the chokey. And I like how these films do not adhere to physics. Although Superman later does claim simple physics, Lex. Just excuse me, one moment, I just need to cough. Yeah, so he bangs on about physics, and this film does not adhere to physics in any shape, way, or form. Like the fact that Superman can breathe in a vacuum and speak in a vacuum. Very bizarre. So anyway, he stops Mir spinning, and this is another thing, right? Superman has got nothing to generate any friction against, right? I don't know what means of propulsion he's using, other than bullshit, but there's no way he could have stopped that spinning. There's not much chance of him, unless he's farting. He'd have to be actually creating some kind of thrust. Not sure who the Russian lass is here, but she's a bit biffy, isn't she? You know, I will go through you like a JCB through concrete, comrade. So anyway, he brings that guy back, and you know, they're all like, yeah, see you then, bye, yeah. But it's all very pro-Russian. And this is about the only decent part of the film, where Christopher Reeve actually just acts as Clark Kent. He's very, very natural in this. And it's a bit of an end of a journey for him in a way, because his parents' farm's up for sale. and he goes into the barn where his magic doof is. So this is the last power crystal, the last remnant of Krypton, basically. Gives it the old X-ray vision because somebody's coming. And, Kansas. Oh, that's where Smallville is. Sticks his glasses on. He's been to Specsavers. And it's some local realtor. And he just wants to get Clark's land so he can sell it on to, I don't know, like a mall or something like that. Rave glow stick. Hello, MC. Just a quick hello to everybody in the chat. I was halfway through that until I got to Gav Super. So thank you again, Gavin, for that £2 pot knacker. Flavius is in there. Also, MC, of course, Paul Dickinson. Brian, hello, Brian. Producer Brian in the chat, keeping an eye on people just in case they get a bit naughty. Radiant butt plug, says Franco. I do not know what you speak of, Franco. In fact, I'm a little bit scared by that statement. Hello to K70, who's just joined us as well. So basically, he's trying to get this land off of Clark, and Clark doesn't want to sell. He wants to stick to his guns and sell it to somebody who's actually going to farm the land and work it. Interesting, this guy picks up a baseball glove and a ball and throws a pitch to Clark, and he misses on purpose. And then when that guy chuffs off, he gets a ball, hits it for hell for leather, and literally knocks it into orbit. Gene Hackman must have done this purely for the money, right? He's camp, he's cheesy. I don't know, unless this is just a bit of fun for him. But it seems well below Gene Hackman's level of acting ability. And he's there as Lex Luthor. It's funny, he's got his own hair. Didn't have any hair, did he, to start with? Interesting little side fact here. The guy on the left there, the chubbyish guy, is Mac McDonald, I think his name is, who played Captain Hollister in Red Dwarf. You know, the American captain. He was also Owl, I can't remember his last name, in the extended cut of Aliens. He was like the manager of LV-426. So this car turns up, and it's a young John Glover. Didn't he go on to be in that thingy with, what's his name? Charlie Sheen. Yeah, 2.5 Men. He was in that too, wasn't he? But like I say, he went on to play Lex Luthor in one of the many spin-offs of the Superman franchise. So he's got this car, and these two prison guards are quite besotted with it. But he's got like a bit of a Knight Rider remote control. So he sets his car up. You can tell that guy on the right is Captain Hollister now, can't you? So these guys are basically getting stitched up. And he's in on it. Of course he is, because he paid for that car. And this kid drives the car off a cliff. Any other circumstance, they'd be dead. There's no coming back from this. Hello, Atom Grey. I don't know Franco. I don't know who that is. So this kid turns out to be Lex's nephew. And he comes and releases him. And look, this is another where the film tries to be comedic and fails spectacularly, because these guys end up looking like a pair of ass clowns. They survive that. Now, in reality, they'd be brown bread. They'd be Hovis. So anyway, Lenny chuffs off with his Uncle Lex. Meanwhile, in Metropolis, I like how they all say, in Metropolis, they keep labeling where places are on purpose. Just out of curiosity, what's the audio sounding like? Does it sound distorted? Does it sound fine? Am I too quiet, or am I not loud enough? I'd be interested to know. There's no actual way of determining what your audio's like unless somebody tells you. Ah, dear. So, Margot Kidder, at this point, thank you guys for getting back to me. Margot Kidder's starting to look a bit rough. Things went kind of south for Margot Kidder after Superman. But like I say, this was the last outing for Christopher Reeve and this cast anyway. But Clark misses his metro train thingy, subway. There we go, got it out in the end. And she's just totally oblivious. So she's like, oh, well, you never mind. But this guy takes a turn for the worst. And obviously this car starts speeding up. K70 in the chat comes out with something very interesting. Considering the crap we have now, we appreciate these bad old classics. It's true. Underground Tram. Oh, I'll give over. I've had a bad day today. I'm not going into specifics, but I've had a bit of a humdinger of a day. And to make it even worse, a certain billionaire took a big slice of money out of my bank account without my authority. Don't worry, I'm being refunded. So anyway, Clark hears Lois complaining and screaming and shouting help. So he does his usual trick, jumps into a phone box, strips off at the speed of light, and boof, is off. To say this is a Blu-ray 2160 copy. It looks terrible. Even on a small screen, it looks terrible. And this really naffs me off. When you go to buy a Blu-ray of one of your favourite all-time movies, and you load it up and you watch it, and the quality is just rubbish. It's like somebody's just bunged it in a program, and they've tried to upscale it and done a really bad... Yeah, MC says that looks shy. It does. This copy is absolutely atrocious. I mean, even that should look fine. Superman steps on the middle rail and, sort of like shorts out the electricity so it stops. And I like this. This man needs attention. No shit, Sherlock. He's just had a stroke or something. So get in there, get him saved. But Lois is like, Superman, look, it's me, it's Lois. But I feel sorry for Margot Kidder. You know? She looks rough. Paul Dickinson in the chat says, meanwhile, back in London. Gav says that's why he's a billionaire, yeah. K70 says, and because the bad shows like New Trek is the reason why me and my friend of mine are doing our own CGI fan film. I can't fault you one bit. Franco says you can see the mat around him. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on here. You know? A hell of a lot. But Clark's kind of dismissive of Lois, and he's gone. Meanwhile, at the Daily Planet, it's bad news. The paper's been sold. Look at Dave McFly. So it's kind of bad news, but Clark kind of looks like he's zoned out a little bit there. So does Perry White. And look, it's the guy from Raw Deal. I never did like this guy. He's got beady eyes. I don't tend to trust people with beady eyes. He kind of looks like, I don't know, a bit George Bushy, doesn't he? But Mariel Hemingway, she looked kind of tasty in this. But Perry's not happy because they want to basically turn the Daily Planet into the Sunday Sport. And look at the quality of that. This is heartbreaking. Yes, it's a bad film. But if you're going to upscale something, at least take it off the master print and then make it 4K. Don't take a crappy DVD copy and then try and make that 4K. No, not good. I mean, even that looks terrible. Shocking. I don't know what to say. What do you think? Franco says filmed in soft focus. There's a lot of that. It's like whatever they've used, it softened things to the point where they look too fuzzy. So this is basically what they want to do to the Daily Planet. They want to turn it into a cross between the Sun and the Sport, basically. I miss Page 3. Page 3 was a staple. Linda Lusardi. Who was that girl I was kind of fond of? I can't remember. And interestingly enough, speaking of Page 3 girls, obviously if you ever worked in a factory like I did in the 90s, you got copies of the Sport knocking about, and you'd have a crafty look at break time, or maybe you were trying to sneak a crafty 5 minutes in somewhere, and you'd pick up somebody's copy of the Sport, and there was a Page 3 girl called Theresa May. When we had a prime minister called Theresa May, that kind of put me off. It kind of, that's it. I've done now. So anyway, this is the boss's daughter, and she's going to do big things at the newspaper. And yet again, Lois, bless her, she was pushing it at this stage. In 1978, yeah, she was kind of nice, you know. But no, she's looking a bit raggedy here. Last I heard, she was kind of living on the streets for a while, wasn't she? And then Christopher Reeve helped her out, bless him. And it's just unfortunate. That guy had everything. He was 6'2", built like a brick shit house, fit as a fiddle, and then gets chucked off for a horse and ends up a quadriplegic. How ironic is that? That is just cruel. So Lois is trying to like lay down the rules, like I'm sort of like that. Yeah, Teague says Margot could have passed away. Yes, she did. Oh dear, Gavin Blackburn. There's no way I can put that up on the screen. And then the new boss pulls Clark to one side and he's like, "How come is it you've not got any like mileage, or you don't fly or anything?" And he says, "Oh, I get plane sick." And then Jimmy, he's like got a scoop. It's bad news. The president's on TV. Oh, we can sensationalize this. This would be great news. And look, it's that bloke out of Blake 7. He was in the pilot of Blake 7, wasn't he? I can't remember his name, but obviously an American. He was also the voice of a few computery bits and bobs. If you remember the episode, I think it's Terminal. He played a computer voice in that episode. So basically, talks between the US and Russia have broken down. And these school kids are watching it on TV. And look at that kid at the back. That was me back in the day, looking out the window. I was somewhere other than the classroom. And they're like, "Jeremy, what are you doing?" They're totally unrealistic, because back in my day, if you were looking out the window, you'd either get a sovereign ring turned round and whacked on top of your head, or you get a board rubber or something, a bit of chalk chucked at you. I don't know, these kids. And he's like, "Oh, I know what we could do. We could get Superman to disarm everybody." Meanwhile, at the Superman Museum, there's Superman's hair held up between a 1,000-pound ball. Those guys in the background look rather dodgy. So anyway, that's a strand of Superman's hair. And it's like he's going to pinch it. Brian says, "Is it a pube?" Possibly, if Superman's got pubes that long. Yeah, I wonder how he goes on for a shave. Does he have to like stick his face in a Flymo? They never answer questions, like minutiae details like that. How does Superman have a haircut? How does Superman have a shave? I don't know. And if he's got a molecular density, which is the key to his powers, because we've got a yellow sun. Technically, if Superman went for a shit, right, wouldn't it have a higher density mass? So it'd kind of crap into a toilet, and it'd go straight through the porcelain, and then straight through the floor. And if he lived in a top floor flat, that could get messy. When they say shit happens, it literally did. So Lex Luthor's nicking a piece of Superman's hair. What could he possibly... Kryptonite razor blades, that's good, MC says in the chat. Gav, controversial. He says, looks better than the Ben Cisco Museum. Certainly does. MC says, board rubber, yeah, and chalk was our teacher's preferred weapon. Franco says, blackboard rubber in my school. It was, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. Board rubber. They used to come keen, I tell you. Especially if you got it in Ed. But anyway, the boss's daughter, that's what I'm referring to her as in this. She does look quite snazzy. I mean, I don't normally do blondes, to be fair. But she's Lacey Warfield. And she looks quite tasty in this. I tell you who's in this as well at some point. Got a problem here. Porkins. Top men, Lois. Top men. She's quite taken with Clark. And she wouldn't mind a slice. And Lois is like, oh, gosh, she looks baggy, don't she? Oh, dear. So anyway, he reads this letter from this kid. And it's like, Superman, you've got to disarm the world. So Mr. Warfield decides to invite him to Metropolis and make a show of it, really. And he looks a little bastard. And clip him round here all. So anyway, headline next day, Superman says drop dead to kid. which didn't happen at all, which ain't good. And Lois, I don't know. Would you or wouldn't you? I don't know. So anyway, Clark's got a lot of contemplating, and he walks out of that office, takes his glasses off, and he knows he's can't do anything. So he flies off to the Fortress of Solitude. Look at that again. Awful. This broke my heart. I mean, yes, it's a bad film. It's not the greatest, but it doesn't help when the quality is just as shocking. Oof. And then you get the odd bits where they actually made the effort, and it shows. So anyway, he consults what's left of the Kryptonian Council. And it's funny. You know, they didn't use the people they used in the first two films, which is obvious. Budget-wise, they probably couldn't get them. But these actors just seem a bit naff, really. So they've told him, you know, you've got to keep out of the business. You know, it's nothing to do with you. You're just living here. You don't own the place. You just, you know, renting for free. So he just goes back and puts his feet up. Looks like his shoes are split. So things are broken down in a big way. So somebody knocks at Clark's door, sticks his glasses on, and it's Lois. 10p for a cuppa, mister. She'd be lucky to get Clark. And he's a bit pissed off. So what he does, he takes a running jump off the building. And this is where the film sort of like hits its first major hurdle, because he just comes back and he's like, remember me when you found out I was Superman? And then they've gone from Metropolis to San Francisco. Now Metropolis is where New York is. And for him to get from New York to there that quick, if Superman flew at that speed and he was holding on to Lois, there wouldn't be anything left of her. Because he'd have to go hypersonic, you know? And that's above 5 times the speed of sound. There'd be nothing left of it. It'd be like dragging a KFC drumstick round with you. So anyway, you've got to defer to the stupidity of how physics works in some films. And then all of a sudden, boof, he's flying over Denver. She does look rough. And they're like the chroma key. You know, when they used to use the blue screens back in the day? That's kind of what this is like. It's like it was all done on the cheap. That doesn't even look like Lois. You know? It's just so bizarre. Don't forget, if you love the channel, hit join and become a member and support more brutally honest reviews. And then before you know it, he's back over Metropolis. And then it's like, it gives her the of memory. It's like got, you know, GBH, what people slip in your drink and, you know, that kind of stuff. When he kisses somebody, it gives them amnesia. So, you know, technically, he could have gone in for a bit of cheeky backdoor action. It's all right, you're not going to remember this. And, you know, he could have just railed it a little bit, just for laughs. Oh, you're walking funny, Lois? Yeah, I don't know. It must have been that mild I had last night. Hello, not Z3PO. Thank you for joining us tonight. Brian says it's a wonder her knickers are still on. Oh, close. Anyway, he snogs her and she zones out. And this is interesting. Clark goes, bing, bing. He's in and out of that room and he's fully dressed. Any bloke can do that. You ask a woman to get ready in double time and you're looking at what, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, and you're still going to be late? Oh, dear. So anyway, he's like, wash day tomorrow, nothing clean, right? Snap out of it. What am I doing out here? I'm freezing me nips off. It's like chapel at pegs out here. And she's like, he could have done it. He could have, like, you know, get her a bit of Captain Birdseye from behind. Yarr. Paul Dickinson. No. He could have gone up her Fortress of Solitude. He could have deed a reverse roofie. Yeah, there's a bit of that going off. Anyway, Jimmy takes this kid out for a hot dog which doesn't seem at all inappropriate. And that guy at the back doesn't look like he's not on normal courtyard exercises. He looks like one of those blokes who gets busted on those, when you're doom scrolling, and those hunters, wrong gun hunters. He looks like somebody who'd be on that. So he's like, "Would you like me to buy you a sausage, kid?" And he's just about to take a photo. Bang! There you go. And he just managed to get himself in there right at the nick of time. And look at that bloke. That bloke on the far left. It's Harry Enfield.
Only me? You don't want to do that, do you?
Look, it's Harry Enfield. It looks just like him. And then you've got Poundland Charlie Bronson behind the Nancy hot dog man. Tell me, Jimmy, you ever seen a grown man cry? So anyway, Jimmy Olsen's getting some right footage there. That does not look like a polystyrene fire hydrant at all. And he's just nonchalantly walking across, and he's got a big, massive crowd. It's Harry Enfield, look.
Only me?
And look, them kids are like, oh, they can detect the noncism. Oh, my God. Look at that guy who's to the left of the copper, right? I would say, if I didn't have my glasses on, that looks like the cat from Red Dwarf before he was famous. And look at that guy on the far left there with the dodgy tash and the raincoat. Does not look like a toilet perv at all. So anyway, amazingly enough, it's the UN right across from the dodgy hot dog stand. And he's like, "You go and watch up in the gallery. I'm going to sort these guys out. Don't worry." And he's like, says to the Madam Secretary of the UN, do you mind if I talk? Like you're going to say no to Superman, because he'd just X-ray you in half, wouldn't he? MC, yes, you've got it. Yes, those kind of hunters. 15 cents for a hot sausage, says Gav Blackburn. You and your hot sausage. Oh, Paul Dickinson, I can't put that on the screen. So she's had, oh my God, somebody's got a laser target on her. That's almost like the tech noir scene in The Terminator. Moving swiftly on. Why is the England representative at the UN just wearing a cardigan? It's not Val Doonican. So they're all listed to Superman. He's like, "Yeah, I've had a letter from a kid." Now then, I've got a letter from Jeremy. "Dear Superman, could you, indeed, fix it for me so there's no big rockets knocking about?" If you get my drift. Dave McFly. That is Dave McFly, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure it is. Mark McClure. I could, I could indeed look it up, but I can't be asked, to be fair. So Superman's going to disarm the world of nuclear weapons, and it's like, ho, hurrah! Well, the acting is so bad. At points, Christopher Reeve really does try, and he acts really well. But, Margot Kidder's acting's really wooden. Mariel Hemingway, she's not the greatest of actors. Mark McClure, he's not too bad. And that kid, he just wants twatting. So he walks off to a standing ovation. And then there's a submarine. "Yes, a hunt for Red October. Red 5 standing by. Hunt for Red October standing by." I always think of that thing from Family Guy. So this man's got his love missile F-111 ready. That's a great song. Dun, 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 dun. Hatch mode. Nice. So he launches his rocket and look at that. Oh, this was just painful. Painful doing the slides for this. That quality. Honestly, whoever upscaled this should just hand their copy of Premiere Pro in at the door. It's not very good. So anyway, Superman rounds up all these. Do you know what I thought when I saw that? Spies Like Us. Let's get a couple of GLG 20s in there. Gathering level group 20. We're going to have to do that on Just Great Movies. We're going to do comedy films in March. So that's something to look forward to. I think I will do Spies Like Us, because that's not bad, really. The only downside is it's got Chevy Chase in. And then all that kept going through my head at this point was, do you remember Vanessa Angel in Spies Like Us? She was the young Russian soldier, wasn't she? She later went on to be a Tok'ra in Stargate SG-1. I can't remember her name, but Vanessa Angel, crikey, super MILF. And she's from England too. So one of the last rockets to go up. And where have they got a net this big? You know? That would take Sheffield and all its steel industry at the time months, if not years, to make a net that big. Strong enough to hold all the world's nuclear arsenal. Yeah, so anyway, and then he just all wraps it up with some steel, and then he's like, flings it off into the sun. And then it takes, light takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to get from the sun to Earth, right? That's at light speed. He just goes, bong, doosh, there we go. Nuclear fire. Sarah Connor would be proud. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor is trying to get back into the arms business. So he meets 3 dodgy characters. One guy who's known as the Mad Russian General Romov. That bloke there in the stripy suit is Porkins. Got a problem here. I can fix it. Eject, eject. And I love that gif of him with he's got a big carton of pop in one hand and a massive cob in the other, and he's like stuffing his face. He was also the man from Raiders of the Lost Ark who says, top men. Guess who else is in that room? Ruddy hell! It's Jim Broadbent, before he was mega famous. He plays Jean-Pierre Dubois in this. And terrible. You can tell that's Porkins now. Crikey, he's had a chin-a-lanch. Anybody spot his neck? Anybody? Anybody at all? If you'd like to spot his neck, we'll send some spot the neck forms out with your local pools representative. So he's just basically trying to restart the nuclear arms industry again and make a potload of cash at it too. They come from behind. Oh, very young Jim Broadbent, yes. Full Lucas neck on that one, says not Z3PO. And look at this guy. He does not look like a Russian. He looks more like Seth Armstrong from, not Seth Armstrong. Or is it? Yeah, Seth Armstrong from Emmerdale Farm. If you remember Emmerdale back in the day. Well, I remember when Emmerdale Farm was good. But there's Porkins and Jim Broadbent. Ruddy hell! I don't know where I've got that from. That's all I hear Jim Broadbent say every time I see him. Ruddy hell. Who says Ruddy? Crikey. So he's just basically trying to do business. But he's got an ace up his sleeve. And now, all of a sudden, he's a genetics expert. And he puts like a blob of phlegm or something in that box. And he makes a little costume. Oh, let's all give the computer something to dress this product in. And then he sticks it all in a money box. You know those cheap money boxes you used to get from Wilco's, right? He's going to stick all that in one of those and then attach it to a nuclear missile. And then it's going to go into the sun. It's not going to obliterate that box at all. Seriously, those money boxes, them cheap ones, don't last 5 minutes. And he's built a device into it. And he's going to throw it into the sun. Now, Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor's a 5-star general of the Air Force. Don't think so. Nice helmet. That's all that's going through my head here. Some of them Porkins are setting this thing up. And he's like, oh, we've got to stop the missile. And he says, hang on a minute. I'm a general. And he hits the button and sends it off. Like a twit. And look at that. It's just one of them cheap money boxes. From Wilco. Ah, dear. What's that? Brian says in the chat, is that Howard from Howard and Hilda on Ever Decreasing Circles? I don't know. I never really. I don't know. I can't answer that. It's not something I really watched. And this does me. You get the odd frame where it looks okay. But if you notice there, can you see a lot of blue on certain things? That's when they used to use blue as the chroma key colour. Why did they do that when Superman's wearing a blue costume? So anyway, he chucks this missile into the sun and it blows up, and it turns into a bloke from Leeds called Mark Pillow, who plays Nuclear Man. Do you know who he kind of looks like? A cross between Kim Wilde and Hunter from Gladiators. Mark Pillow was actually from Leeds, but this character, Nuclear Man, he's just obsessed with his fingernails. That's all he keeps concentrating on. And then he just flies to Earth. Meanwhile, Clark's having a bit of a up 1-2, down 1-2 with Lacey Warfield, because she's wet through with him. Now, this guy here, he's a bit of a douche, and he tries to, like, Chad Clark Kent, which is a bad move, really. Howard confirmed Stanley Lieber. Oh, right. I did not know that. Huh. Hello, Argentum. What's this? Nice comment. Look, you have to respect that they were able to save a penny here and there. They even got Temu Superman. Yeah. It's like when you ordered Superman from Wish. Clark gets his own back in a minute because Chad here chucks these weights at him and he's like, oh yeah, must have been picked the wrong ones up. And then he gets his own back because he kind of re-bullies him. And I was looking there quite intently, not at his package, but to look to see if he did a skidder on the way down. Oh, look, they're them cheap weeder. I can't remember how you pronounce it. But my brother had a set of those. And I'm not joking, they were rubbish. And they were never the correct weight either. If you ever weighed those, they would never be spot on what the weight you actually wanted. Brian says, Marco Skidder. I like it. Yeah, out your shit, then, pal. And that does not look like a Nuclear Man at all, does it? That looks like, I don't know, like somebody crossed a toy lion with a seal. That is shockingly bad special effects. And he turns up at Lex Luthor's, like he knows where Lex Luthor lives for a start. Nuclear Man! And this is how cheap they were on the production of this. They couldn't afford any lighters. But don't worry about it. Nuclear Man, if you push his knob in, and then 15 seconds later, his fingernails pop out and they're all red raw and you can light your cigar off it. But Mark Pillow looks kind of ripped, And then there's old John Cryer, and he starts taking the mick. Oh, he's got a Nintendo controller. I didn't notice that at the time. And one of those keyboard things what Tom Hanks had in Big. And he does like a magic jazz hands, doesn't he? And he's like spinning him around. Little shit. Yeah. But Luthor's got an ace up his sleeve. You take him out the light, he's no good. And then he like shines a bit of light, doesn't he, off his ring. Oh dear. I shot some light off my ring and it brought him round. Because he's Nuclear Man. He's totally solar powered. Well, the fact is, Superman's solar powered as well. That's where he gets his strength from, our yellow sun. So Luthor's like, yeah, it's all right, I can control this clown. All you got to do is like turn the lights off. Thing is, like the sun goes down eventually. What's he going to have to do? Keep running around after the sun. Meanwhile, somebody's come up with a great idea of Clark and Superman having a double date with these two lasses. Why doesn't Superman just drop the pretense? He could have an exceptionally fine three-way there. I mean, he's got the young rich tart and then the old slapper for pudding. Or maybe the other way around. And then we have this awful sort of like ping pong effect of Clark and Superman. And he's getting into silly situations and he has to keep disappearing. And then he irradiates a duck so he doesn't have to eat. I don't know where cooking does look a bit dodgy. And it's just farcical at this point. You get one bit where you think the script or the storyline is just going to pick up, and it doesn't happen. And Argentum says in the chat, cringe fest. Yeah, that's what this is, because it's predictable, it's full of cliches, And he almost Christopher Reeve helped write the story. It was his idea to get on the nuclear disarmament bandwagon. And that's why that's the focus of this film. But then again, when celebrities get on bandwagons, it doesn't end well, does it? It's never worked out well. I mean, has Billie Eilish left that mansion yet and given it back to the people who were indigenous to that land? I bet she hasn't. Hello, Billie Eilish. You hypocrite. And then we've got a bit of a rehashment of the script. The first film, we had a couple of nukes in that, and he could send out a signal that only dogs and Superman could hear. And then Lex puts himself on a billboard, which I thought was kind of fun, to be fair. So he says, like, I'm going to blow this build. Yeah, it's same old, same old. It's just repurposing of ideas from the other films. It's like the guys who wrote this really didn't have much of a clue. The story was written by Christopher Reeve, and it's not telling me who wrote it, and it did a minute ago. Let me go into that. So the story was by Christopher Reeve, Lawrence Connor, and Mark Rosenthal. So he'd gone in and said, look, we're going to do this and virtue signal. And, before virtue signaling was a thing. Oh, dear. Holy moly. Thank you, Brian. Wowzers. Thank you so much. Not Brian. Wrenched. Gifted 5 Trev Retro memberships. Thank you. That is super kind. I'm going to leave that on there for a bit. Thank you so much, Brian. So anyway, Nuclear Man's looking for a bit of action. I don't think he wants to destroy Superman. I think he just wants to have a bumming contest. That's what it is. I want to bum you into the middle of next week. Not going to happen, buddy. So Nuclear Man just wants to destroy Superman. That's his sole purpose. And look at that, melting his paving slabs. That's not cool. I will not replace them. They're only 89p at B&Q, or Lowe's if you're in America. I think it's Lowe's, isn't it? The orange one. Wow, I'm still impressed with that, Brian. So anyway, these two start having a scrap. They need some old lady there with a wooden spoon to whack them both. And anyway, they start this. I mean, look at that. Look how crap that looks. $17 million. That was the budget on this turkey. $17 million can get you better special effects. Or, your VFX and your special effects directors. You could have got better people for that money. What's that? The orange one is Home Depot. Ah, that's the one. I don't know where I've got Lowe's from. The lesbian dating spot, apparently. Really? Not Z3PO says, yes, the compositing is shy. It really is. It doesn't take a deal, does it? Even back in 1987. They could have done a hell of a lot better. And look at that, the soft filtering on the upscaling. Why even bother? I would not want to pay good money. I mean, I'm glad I got this from the charity shop. Oh, dear. It's amazing what you can find in local Chas shops. Do you know how much I paid for this on Blu-ray? If somebody guesses correctly within the next 5 minutes how much I paid for this on Blu-ray, I will give you a prize of some variety. MC says YouTube keeps telling him off for his comments. I'm not particularly happy with the tube of the U because I have got up to nearly 1.9k subs, right? And then all of a sudden, next morning, I'm down by 126. And then when I get back up to my previous total, a couple of days later, or within hours, I'm back down by 120. It's like I keep going back to the same number. And they've not just done it once to me. It's happened 6 times in a row in the past week. So I would like to think that my subs are closer to about 2.6k at this rate, considering how many times I've been back squatted. So anyway, Nuclear Man decides to head to China, and he starts jazz hands in at the Great Wall of China, and this doink fell off. And look at that guy behind him, like, hey, hey. Oh, they look really serious. They look really scared and concerned too. But Superman turns up in the nick of time, and then he's got like a magic brick lane set in now. He like does this thing, and this white light comes out of his hands, and it rebuilds walls. Superman, if you're listening, I've got a wall that needs replastering. You know? So I wouldn't mind you just nipping round and doing that. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. I'm so impressed. Argentum says, YouTube unsubbed me from you once. Do you know? It's funny that. Atom Gray says he has. Can you do that, guys? Can you check to make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel? Because it's not a level playing field on here anymore. And I feel there's a lot of skullfuckery going on behind closed doors. Yes. It's not, you know, how, right? If YouTube needs us for its bread and butter, why is it pissing on us? I just don't understand that. Does not make sense. But anyway, these two, they're just at it. And then this makes me laugh. They're in space. But Nuclear Man can give Superman a bit of a cold blowjob and turn him into an ice pop. And then he goes and chucks himself in an inactive volcano. I can only assume it's Mount Etna or Vesuvius or something like that. But he sets this thing off proper. Meanwhile, Superman gets out of the ice, back to Earth. Let me go back there. He looks a bit shiny, doesn't he? Almost like he's rubber. Oh, Gavin Blackburn says that he got unsubbed from Wayfarer. That is weird. Anyway, people are saying that, you know, I should, I can't really say that R word, but I'm actually streaming on there now as we speak, doing a simulcast. There we go. Franco says, I've had to reload as none of my comments were going through. It's funny, I think MC said that earlier. That is very bizarre. Nobody's guessed it yet. Nobody's guessed. Anyway, Superman comes down and he uses that laser vision and he slices a mountain top off. Kind of looks like the one in Close Encounters, Devil's Seat, is it? And he chucks a mountain into a volcano. And then he comes down and gives this a cold blow as well. Oh, grazie, Superman. You saved my pizza. Nope, nobody's close yet. Nobody's close. Gav says it's rejecting all my comments about money, lol. Show me the money. What are we guessing? How much I paid for this on Blu-ray from the charity shop? Oh dear. You probably won't guess. Anyway, love the channel? Hit join, become a member, and support more brutally honest reviews on this channel. We're trying to get somewhere. It's like, you know, the system is trying to reject the Trev. And I'm not giving up because I'm stubborn. But it's not cool when you know for a fact you're a lot higher in subs than what you actually are, and you keep getting docked. It's funny, that. So anyway, Statue of Liberty, Nuclear Man, he don't like that one bit. That actually looks kind of like they did a half-decent job of it, which is a bit of a stretch, really. Flav says 75p. No. MC says 20p. Flav again, 3 for £1. Gav says 2 for £1. Franco says 50p. Not Z3PO. 40 pounds. It's not Scotland, sir. Franco says £1.25. Gav says £1. No. 4.50 says Paul Dickinson. £2 says Atom Gray. 2.50 says Franco. God, it's like being on a bidding site. £2 says Atom Gray. Hello, Atom Gray. You guys were cracking last week. I couldn't stay up last week. I was a bit burnt out after we're talking about Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Apparently, I'm going to love episode 6. Apparently, one of them turns out to be a furry. So Nuclear Man picks up the Statue of Liberty. And like Superman's like, oh, what? And Nuclear Man's just like, oh, I'm just going to lob this at somebody. Yeah, I'll just chuck it at them there. Yeah, I don't like them. They're driving a Nissan. But Superman magically gets from where he was to where he is now in no time at all. And he just picks up the Statue of Liberty. And like Nuclear Man's, I'm not having that. Look at that. I've had to use another can of air lacquer. You must get through some air lacquer. Oh, that's an interesting comment. Argentum says, episode 6 might end up asking for ID due to content. You never know. Gav says, YouTube's blocking his comments. What's going off? Franco. Crikey. Did I trade in a Lion King tape? You're joking, right? I've never seen that film. I don't allow Disney in this house. When it comes to Disney films, there's only a few I will actually watch. And they are Tron Legacy, and definitely The Black Hole. They're the only 3 Disney films I'll actually watch. While Superman's carrying the Statue of Liberty, old Nuclear Man, and he's a bit scratchy. Keeps scratching everybody with his long nails. Scratches Superman, and it kind of nukes him a little bit. And while he's down, Nuclear Man just like takes a running kick. It's like he's been watching rugby league or American football to our friends across the pond. And field goal. Superman goes flying. All that's left is his cape. But old Warfield, he's got that as a present for Lacey. And Lois is like, what are you doing with that? You can't have that. I'm taking it off you. As you do. But look at him. He just looks well sketchy. See you next Tuesday. Argentum says, old Disney is good. Yes. But don't pay for old Disney if you don't already have to. Yeah. Ooh, MC says, what about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Only if it's the James Mason version. Wasn't that the one with Kirk Douglas as well? Anyway, I'm digressing. No, I'm very like basic when it comes to my Disney needs. But The Black Hole's just great. That is an underrated classic. Might have to do that on Just Great Movies one time. It's considered a turkey, but that's only because Star Trek, the motion picture, came in and derailed it. They released it within a few weeks of Star Trek, and it kind of tanked it. Of course, yes, Kirk Douglas, says MC. Original Jungle Book was superb, says Paul Dickinson. Never seen it. A lot of people go, why have you not seen that, Trev? And I'm like, no. So Superman gets a knock on his door, and he sticks his glasses on dead quick. And then Lois is like just having some kind of Jedi chat with him, like, I just know Superman's all right, really. He's not really dead. I can feel it in my bones. Look, just because he's tashed off with you a couple of times, there's no physical way he could actually get fruity with her. Because if he jizzed in her, he would like split her in half. She would atomize, wouldn't she? You know? He's Superman. He has super sperms. Now, if he did a vinegar stroke in her, she'd be red mist. Am I wrong? Or am I right? Paul Dickinson said, did you swap The Last Jedi Blu? I don't own any of those buggers on Blu-ray. Get stuffed. No way. There's only 3 Star Wars films. So anyway, she magically gives him that cape back. It's like she still knows. You know, under no illusion. Lex is a happy chappy. He's got a bit of a kickback from selling all these nuclear arms. Who they're selling them to? Nuclear legs? Look at Jim Broadbent. Ruddy hell, we made some right cash. And Pawkins is like, I'm going out for tea soon with some top men. And Seth Armstrong's there like, can't wait to get in Woolpack and have a great good natter with Amos Braley. And he says, hey boys, I've got a surprise for you. And it's Timu Superman, a.k.a. Nuclear Man, who just basically scares the pants. Pawkins is running. It's like somebody's told him ice cream van's about to go, and they're giving away free ice cream. Pew! He's off like a shot. Jim Broadbent's winning, though. And my money's on Jim Broadbent. Ruddy hell. And Nuclear Man is just so cheesy. I feel sorry for Mark Pillow. I hope he got paid well from this, because I don't remember seeing him in anything after this. Meanwhile, Superman wants to go raving, but he's looking a bit worse for wear. He's looking quite irradiated there, isn't he? He's going to use the last power of Krypton to repair himself. Now, that's unfortunate. What if he needs it again? Gav says 10 comments rejected. You're not using rum words, are you? Huh? I don't know. What's this? Argentum says. That's great. I mean, I'd love that because I flipping love that movie. Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the black hole? Oh, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, I think you're talking about. MC says, apparently YouTube won't accept that film with Vincent and Maximilian in. You should review that. Yes. Yes. That and Star Trek the Motion Picture were the last two films to include an overture at the beginning. Morning has broken like the first morning or whatever. So anyway, bit of sunlight and Nuclear Man, he's up with the lark, isn't he? Like, doing. It's not the only thing that's up. He's got a bit of morning wood and he's a bit horny. He wants a bit of newspaper girl. And he's like, I'm going to have there with the lilacs, it's not love, in his Yorkshire accent. So he goes to cause a muck, but Superman's ready, willing and able to sort him out. But Nuclear Man's having none of it. He has a big meltdown. And, it's fire and ice. But he's obsessed with his fingernails. But he's like flashing stuff out. He melts that guy's bazooka. Wouldn't that explosive physically go off in his hand due to the heat and wipe them all out? Don't include physics or logic in your reasoning, Trevor. I will destroy you. So Superman goes in a lift. He can fly, but he's going in a lift. Where's the sense? I don't know. Well, he's having none of that, and he just goes up straight through the floor, and he meets him at the top floor. But he still manages to con him into a lift where there's no sunlight. He runs out of juice. Superman, without any thought for anybody else down below, just rips this lift straight out of this building. Oh, look at the quality of that again. Oh, my God. You are killing me. Whoever upscaled this, whoever did the special effects on this, you are ruining the experience. You're making a bad film even worse. I don't know. Anyway, he gets swatted down on the moon. Why didn't he put him on the dark side of the moon? Problem solved. And he's feeling quite cock-a-hoop for himself, but the sun's coming up, which is a bad move, because there's a crack in the door. But meanwhile, Superman's more interested in restoring the American flag at one of the Apollo landing sites. Not a smart move, really, because, somebody's up behind you. And it's like, what is it with his fingers? Is it like, smell me finger, Superman? Superman, smell me finger. Fucking hell, crab paste. Or is he like, he's going to give him a dirty Sanchez, isn't he? How much of the $17 million budget did Reeve get? I don't know. But he's going to need that money. Bit of foreshadowing. It doesn't end well for Christopher Reeve, bless him. I'm sorry you're having trouble in the chat, guys. Anyway, time's up. Nobody got it. $2.99. That's how much I paid for this. And I'm really regretting it now. I might take it back and say it didn't play very well. Yeah, YouTube doing some bizarre stuff tonight. I agree with that. That'll be interesting in the morning. Hey, in fact, guys, I could do with a bit of help, a bit of a call to arms for you. Why don't you see if you can get at least 2 or 3 people to sub that aren't already sub to the channel, and see if you can get me over to 2K, and then YouTube might leave me alone. And then we might find out how many subs the channel's really got, because I think, they're doing a bit of a, how can I put it? I think they're being very creative with the accounting, is what I'm trying to say. And this is another thing as well. Fighting on the moon. That's never going to end well. And then Nuclear Man just hammers him down into the ground, flies back to Earth, grabs her, And he's like, yeah, super space totty. Meanwhile, Superman pulls himself out of the dirt, and the first thing he does is restore the American flag again. And then, this is total rhubarb. Instead of sorting him out, he's going to create an eclipse. Now, if he moves the moon out of its orbit to do this, the knock-on effects on Earth would be catastrophic. You would have giant tidal waves. You would disturb tides all across the planet. You'd probably cause quite a few seismic events as well. So yet again, the physics doesn't hold up. He would have to keep the moon in its orbit. And another thing here that's totally wrong. Old Nuclear Man's flying off with love interest Macy Warfield. How's she breathing in space? She should be a corpse. So Superman's turned off the sun. He rescues Lacey and takes her back to Earth. How did she survive re-entry? My God, what's Bond doing? I think he's attempting re-entry, sir. There's none of that. So he goes to sort Nuclear Man out for the 15th time. Yes, Atom Gray, send me a promo clip, brother. We'll plug you every Friday night, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. I'll knock one up. I really will. I'll get round to it. A lot going off behind closed doors. I don't really want to say too much, but it's been quite possibly one of the worst days of my life today. And I don't exaggerate. And it didn't help that a certain internet billionaire decided to take £313 out of my bank account without authorization. I've got it back, though, don't worry. So anyway, Superman drops Nuclear Man into a cooling tower of a nuclear power station. Now they're cooling towers for cooling, right? There's no access to the reactors there because it's purely a water recycling system. But no, not in this film. It's straight into the heart of the reactor and it sets everything off. All these lights start powering up. And these lights weren't even on in the first place. But for some reason, Nuclear Man can turn on your lights on. That's clever of the electric companies because you're going to get a big bill now. And it's 200 amps. Nice. Get that linear burner on. All these lights are coming on and whatnot. In the meantime, the Daily Planet's been restored to the Daily Planet. Because Perry White, a bit of a clever old soul, is not really a businessman, but Warfield comes down. He's like, oh, I'm not having none of this. You're all fired. And it turns out Perry has become the major shareholder. And he's got the Daily Planet back. And it's like, up yours, Jack. We're back, Johnny Cash. Yet again, like this soft filtering. The centre of that picture is sharp as oak. But the rest of it... rubbish. Back at the UN, they're going to do this thing about Superman, and Clark's supposed to be getting interviews, vox pops from people, but he's forgot the tape recorder, so conveniently he has to poddle off for it. I'll be back in a minute. And then Superman turns up. It's funny that, as soon as Clark chuffs off, Superman turns up. And it's all, oh yeah, Superman. I like Mark McClure. He didn't have a fantastically big career. But he was always jovial in everything he was in. So Superman gives this spiel about, oh, you're a young planet, but you need to not make mistakes. And all that malarkey. Oh. You've lost 240 subs since the start of the month, 80 in the last 2 days. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I get up to 1888. And then, boof. It's down again. Boof, it's down again. And then it's back up and back down. But that 200 since the start of the month, it's been more than that. So I think there's a bit of creative accounting, you know? So anyway, old Lex, it become kind of like a bad comedy cliche. Do you remember how Otis was the lovable oaf, the plucky, uncomic relief? Well, that's what Lex has become. You know, he's not the greatest criminal of his lifetime. Yes, it does look like, let me just go back a slide. That does look like a UK road. You are quite correct. This would have been filmed near Shepperton, wouldn't it? There or thereabouts, maybe Pinewood. So maybe this is a section of the M1 or something. So anyway, Lex is doing one, and then on it's up and away. Superman's got him. And then he takes Lenny to be reformed. This is absolutely cruel. Are you ready for this? Superman isn't a nice guy after all. Superman is an absolute bastard. And do you know why? Yeah, he's taken him to a Catholic boys' school. Why do you think those kids are all at the gates clambering to get out? Eh? Will you take care of this boy, father? Don't you worry, Superman. By the time this young man's done here, he'll be walking like John Wayne. Excuse me? And meanwhile, they all start whistling Beethoven because Lex is back, and he's back in the slammer. Why did you deactivate the rev? And he says, I'll see you in 20 years. And then we end the film with that cheeky smile that Christopher Reeve used to give at the end of good Superman movies. What's this? Let's get a bit controversial. Atom Cray says, ScrewTube doesn't want small creators anymore. They're losing ad revenue every year, and it's not cost effective. It's funny you should mention that, because somebody was telling me that, what was I going to say? That they're going to do a big, massive cull. The rumor is they're going to do a big, massive cull. So people like me, might disappear suddenly. And I was just starting to get somewhere here. But it's just weird, I get up to 1888 on the subs, right? And then, boof, down. I get back up to 1888. And then, boof, down. Can't not tell me that's not something untoward. I think that's sketchy as hell. Oh, look, I'm at 1801 now. But I tell you something, it doesn't take me long to get back up to 1888. So to me, that's speaking volumes. People are loving the show. We're getting out there now. We're getting people, interested and loving the channel. And if you love the channel, hit join, become a member, and support more brutally honest reviews. The more people that like and subscribe to the channel and actually join the channel, probably the less chance of us getting nuked in the grand scheme of things. I do apologise tonight about the chat. I wish we could do something about that. Yes, Flav, you make a very good point there. Can anybody let me know if I'm actually going out over on that other place? Because I did set it up and it says it's working here on StreamYard. Really interesting to know. Franco says, take care, everyone, and much love to you all. Are you off to bed, mate? You take care, my friend, and we'll catch up with you soon. I'm looking forward to Friday. I tell you what I'm quite interested to pick your brains about. I'm half tempted to do Just Bad Trek on a Thursday and bring Friday Night Shite back. Hello, says Z3PO. Did I miss anything interesting? No, it was Superman 4. It was painful. It was painful to rewatch. It was painful to take all the screenshots. It was painful to make all the slides. The quality of this copy, to say it was 2160, was absolutely disgusting. Anyway, that's about your lot for tonight. Ardent Party, hello. I'm late. Can you start over? Not with this film, mate. Thank you, Atom. Thank you, Rachel, for letting me know. Oh my goodness. Oh, Argentum says, apparently this coming week's Starfleet Academy will be quite raunchy. Oh, it'll be, a bit of man-on-man action, probably, or a bit of munching of rugs, and we're not talking about Persian rugs. We're talking about like hairy triangles and curtains made of a certain meat. It'll all be that. There'll be nothing, above board and legal, if you know what I mean. Brian says, well played, Trev Retro. Pure professionalism. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no professionalism on this channel. I'm just going with the flow. Anyway, that's about your lot from me. I hope you enjoyed Just Bad Movies tonight. Next week, oh dear. Guess what film we're doing next week? It just happens to be my all-time favourite guilty pleasure. I'll take you back to 1982 next week with Michael Beck, Barry Bostwick, big clue there, Henry Silver, Devon from Knight Rider, and the bald chick from Star Trek. That's all on the way. Don't forget to join us from 9 this coming Friday for Just Bad Trek. We may do it, depending on if Z's up for it and Ista. Might do it Thursday, just so I can bring Friday Night Shite back. Thank you for the supers tonight. Much appreciated. Thank you for sharing the love tonight, Brian. Giving away 5 free channel memberships. I really do appreciate that. Atom Gray, you know what I'm talking about. Megaforce, indeed. I'm looking forward to that one. Right, enjoy what's left of your day. I'll catch up with you later in the week. And don't forget, if you end up watching Starfleet Academy, you can always change the channel or turn it off. Take care, my friends.